Hello, this is Mark from Character Change Works. I hope that you're well. Guys, this is going to be the last video in terms of the language bit. I have discussed quite a bit in terms of words to identify certain traits or tactics or goals of the narc. And this is going to be the last one. Listen, by no means have I given you a saturated list of words. Man, there is thousands out there. But I thought I'll just bring out the important ones. So in continuation with this, let's quickly look at this, and I'm hoping that once you get a concept of what these words actually mean and how they impact you, that you'll be a little bit wiser, a little bit more aware, a little bit more alert, giving you, I'm hoping, the upper hand in dealing with the narc. So let's look at the final few words that I've got written down here in order to try and school you guys in a new kind of language. And here we go. Neglect. Neglect is a very classic way how the narc would work. And as the word says, when you are neglecting someone, it's basically you've just shun them and off you go. And there's no contact, which is basically the same, but in a different kind of a context. So neglect might be something like this. If you are in a married relationship, you might be sexually neglected because you're not playing the narc's game. You might be financially neglected, where the narc will have to have control over all the finances, so they can control how much they're going to give you in terms of paying bills and pocket money and all this kind of carry on, so they can control the stuff that they want to buy for them, not necessarily for you. They might say something like this, and this is something that's happened in my life, is whilst I was working, I would come back from work at, say, midnight or that kind of time. Everybody has eaten, but the dishes were left for me to do in order to have dishes, for me to then at midnight, 12:30 midnight time, to make my own food, because there was no food left for me, even though I might have been at work from 6 o'clock in the morning. Neglect. And that happened, in my case, hundreds of times. Like I said, it will come emotionally, psychologically, physically. You'll get neglected in various degrees regarding various areas where you can be neglected. So when you are in that kind of relationship and you notice this kind of stuff, where all of a sudden you've got your own cooking, when was the last time we had sex? Where's all the money going? Ask yourself what is really going on. Chances are you're being neglected. A tactic that the narc will use to bring you in compliance with their game. Basically, you're being bullied emotionally. Okay? Pay attention. It's a classic way of punishing you. So there you go. No contact. I did that. I went no contact for months because I had to heal from some stuff. Now, I've been away from my relationship for quite some time, and even now, periodically, I get flashbacks of, I wonder. And then I have to wake myself up and realize, but you're not there anymore, because I've been neglected in many ways for years. And the only way to suffocate and starve the supply, as in the previous video, you need to do no contact. As hard as it might be, when you notice the flying monkeys, the cognitive dissonance, all that kind of stuff, you need to do something. And the only successful way I've come to muster is no contact. As soon as you don't give them anything, they've got nothing to work with. They can only go by the past, which is something else that's coming up in a minute. But be aware of flying monkeys and enablers, because they are the little eyes that wander and the ears that listen in order to keep the narc in supply. So be aware of what you say and who you say it to, because you might be feeding the narc supply via a flying monkey or an enabler without you even being aware. So there you go. Object consistency. Basically what that means is the narc is so involved with their own agenda that they get lost in their own world. And I forgot to cook. It's okay, we'll have a takeaway. Or I forgot to do this. And in the meantime, they stay scheming on how to get more supply, where they can and how they can gaslight you, what they can do to create dissonance, and so on and so forth. So the object consistency basically is, I'm studying hypnosis at this point in time, is basically breaking the trance to get into another trance in order for them to get into the here and now, in order to deal with the issues at hand now in the present, in the real world. And then once they've done that, they break the trance to go into their narcissistic trance, and then they can scheme even more. So when you see people who are breaking from what they need to be doing at that point in time, very similar to daydreaming, I suppose, but this is with a very, very evil intent. So when you notice that in people, where have you been? I've been a million miles away. And when you know that you're dealing with a narc, and when you're dealing with the I've been a million miles away, they're scheming to trap you, hurt you, destroy you. Be aware. Parentification. This is where children are expected to do the parental role, and they might play the victim, the narc will, where they are now looking at children to look after them as a carer, to supervise medication, to supervise that they're eating, that they're bathing, and all this kind of carry on. Basically, they are being abused to do a role that they are not equipped to do as yet, because they're too young to deal with that kind of responsibility. But the narc will enjoy that, because it's all about control. And if they can parentify children, children grow up long before they should, but in such a bad manner that they are destroyed before they even get going in life. But the narc doesn't care, because just like Narcissus, he was in love with himself and would do anything to reflect himself in a way that will try and make other people jealous of who he really is. So the narc will do whatever they can, and I'm emphasizing whatever, to try and everybody to play their game. I see it in my own kids. We've become young carers, Dad. No, you're not. You're playing the game. You don't know it. You think you're doing good, and you are. But you're not playing according to the rules of society. You're playing the rules according to the narcissist. It's a dangerous game. Projection, it is, I'm feeling bad because you've done something, and now I'm going to make you feel bad. In fact, I'm going to make you feel that bad that you won't be able to see your friends, your family. I'll take all your rights away, all your little privileges away. I'm going to neglect you. I'm going to abuse you, because I'm going to have to make you feel how I feel because of what you've done to me. And there's this projection of, I want to feel less like how I am feeling by making you feel worse so I don't feel so bad. Projection. So when you start feeling guilty, bad, ashamed, enraged, anger, whatever the case might be, when under normal circumstances you wouldn't, chances are you've been hooked, like, and sinkered into that particular game that the narc will play. Projection. Similar, scapegoat. When you've been isolated, you've been picked out of a group of X, Y, and Z numbers, and now it's your fault. You're the reason why this project hasn't worked. You're the reason why we're in financial debt. You're the reason why I'm so unhappy. Scapegoating is when the true victim is being isolated and insulted, abused by the narc, who's the abuser. But you are scapegoated. The black sheep of the family in many ways, I suppose, where you stand out amongst the rest because you're not playing the game. Be aware. And finally, one of the fancy tactics that the narc will use is what they call a smear campaign. If all else fails, they will destroy your reputation. They will tell lies about you. They will tell all your friends stuff. Not the truth, but the narc's version of the truth. To try and get you a smear campaign where your status is destroyed, your reputation is destroyed, your friends are destroyed, your social circles are being destroyed. And then all of a sudden you realize, man, my people are talking about me, but I've done nothing. Chances are you've been the victim of a smear campaign where all of a sudden the good that you are is now portrayed as being completely evil. And a smear campaign, generally speaking, from my experience, is what the narc feels within them. They have to project in society, but they use a smear campaign to do so. So be aware, when people that you used to talk to on a regular basis, who you had a lot of fun with, socially and all that kind of stuff, all of a sudden stop speaking to you because they've been lied to about you. Smear campaign. Be aware. So there you go, my friend. There is just about 20 words or thereabouts. 25 words, I don't know exactly how many. Just of what the narc will do to try and dominate, destroy, and do anything they possibly can to get the supply that they need for them to continue in the tracks that they do. I hope that these few little videos that I've done has helped you just to get a grip of some of what they do to try and stay alive in a narc kind of a manner by sucking the life out of you in any way they possibly can, emotionally, psychologically, even financially, destroying you in any way they possibly can. The narc is an evil, evil person. So there you go. I hope this has helped you. I'm going to start making videos on other tactics that they use, how they incorporate that, and what you can do about it. I'm going to look about thinking, body language, what you can do to kind of get yourself in the upper hand, give you the opportunity to equip yourself as far as that is concerned. I hope if you enjoyed that few little videos on the language. It's interesting stuff, isn't it? Okay. After you've done all the YouTube admin, the share, the subscribe, but the discussions in the comments. Man, this is great stuff. This is Mark from Carriage Change Works. I'll speak to you soon.